Well, we've heard from Bunala Yunupingu and from Damien Wright about a plan for Yolngu men to make beautiful furniture from eucalypts on the Gove Peninsula. Now we head to Lismore in northern New South Wales to meet another cabinet maker. Now, like Damien, this bloke is a skilled top-end craftsman, but his whole aesthetic is completely different. We visit him in a quiet, ordinary street in Lismore. He takes us into the garage under his house, where he unwraps his treasure.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Well, that sound that we just heard was Geoff Hanna unveiling the most extraordinary piece of furniture I think I've ever seen. Hi, Geoff.
How you going, mate? How are you?
This is a staggering thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen it myself since I brought it back from Sydney. About 2 months ago, it's been wrapped up and just hidden away here.
Describe it to us.
It took 6.5 years to build it. We funded it all ourselves. It's all made of Madrona burl and Brazilian mahogany, and the columns are all ebony, and all the stone you see in the gallery around the top, that's all petrified wood from chinchilla. That took 3.5 months to cut that stone and polish it just for the gallery. Then, of course, it's inlaid into the tops of the legs and the top and bottom of the columns, and then it's got grapes inlaid into those parts on the ebony columns.
Now, if you're trying to imagine what we're talking about, imagine... Let's start at the sort of bottom end and work towards the Rolls Royce we're heading for. Just imagine a wardrobe, a big wardrobe, and then imagine what a Rolls Royce version of it would be. This is a cabinet that's full of different kinds of timbers. It's got drawers. It's got the most beautiful inlay work with birds and flowers. It's got black columns on it. It's got gold. I cannot describe it. It is the most gorgeous, exquisite piece of craftsmanship I've ever seen. And Geoff is just pulling out one of the drawers, and inside the drawer, I don't know what I'm looking at. There are more drawers, so we're lifting a little lid that's inside the drawer.
And that's stone from Mount Warning. Those 4 panels cut into there.
So there's a little wooden lid, and set into the wooden lid are 4 pieces of beautiful blue textured stone, and now we're looking inside the drawer. And there's the most extraordinary veneer in here. What is this?
It's snakeskin sapelli. It's African, but it looks like snakeskin. And
so that's a timber, is it?
It's a timber, yeah, and that's the terminology for it because it looks like snakeskin. Fairly rare to get it. And that drawer comes out to reveal 2 more drawers hidden in there. And those drawers are actually made out of prickly acacia from Africa, but actually it grew in Muttaburra in Queensland.
So you pull the drawer out, and then you lift another sort of beautifully made inner lining of it, a sort of box really,
yeah.
And behind it there are more drawers, and you pull these little drawers out, and you've got a little drawer that's the size of a loaf of bread, I suppose, or a slice of bread would fit in there. Now, what motivated you to make this exquisite piece of furniture?
It's a progression of the last 3 cabinets. Each one's funded each other, and each one's a progression. You know, you make one, then think, I can make it bigger, I can make it longer, and I can do this, and of course I come to this one where I put more stone in it and gems, because there's about 3 different types of shell, 17 types of stone, and about 47 types of timber.
Let's just look at some of the work that's on the main door. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 doors across the front. And in each of these doors, in which there's incredibly complex marquetry, that's the word I'm searching for, marquetry of timber, and then laid into these timber are these beautiful...
magnolias.
Yep.
And they're out of sycamore, Scottish sycamore. And I've used it cut on the quarter to get that little medullary ray that it has, get that little fleck, makes that flower look a bit more textured. And then the vine itself, the branches itself, they're a burr walnut. And the leaves are the heart of the thorny yellowwood tree.
Isn't that extraordinary? So the petals of the magnolias have just got a little kind of movement, a little kind of light to them, and as you move around it, it shimmers. That's right. Now, you've got this... I mean, we should say we're under your house. We're just in a very ordinary suburban street here in Lismore, just a bunch of weatherboard houses all in a row, and under one of them is Geoff's extraordinary workshop. It's like boy heaven down here, really. There's all these screwdrivers and clamps and all sorts of wonderful heavy equipment and so on, and beautiful pieces of timber. How did all this start for you?
Well, I started in 1973 as a home industry, and I've never left. Just been here working and making a living out of this workshop. And of course, when anyone sees a workshop, they think, "Oh God, did you make it here?" Well, it's just here. I mean, everyone just drives past it and wouldn't know there's a workshop going on here.
No, it is like a miracle. I mean, in other houses, people playing darts or, maybe like me, making a bookcase that needs a lot of putty and, it's sort of embarrassing, really. Oh gosh, she's just opened the main door, and inside, why do you need it like this? You open the door and behind it there's another door. What were you thinking?
It's got 18 doors on it and 140 drawers.
Right.
And then, of course, all the doors are all decorated with birds and flora all through it.
Now, what's the influence? I mean, it looks to me as though it's coming from somewhere that's a little bit French. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, well, it's European. It's a bit Flemish.
Right.
But there's no other like it. I mean, you would never see nothing like that looks like this cabinet.
No, well, I mean, this is the sort of work I associate with European royalty. I feel as though I've seen work of, approaching this quality in the palaces of Europe.
Well, if you're waiting for someone to probably commission you to make this, I mean, they'd probably never thought of the idea at any rate to come up with, And of course, in the old days, I mean, they were commissioned by, kings and queens and tax collectors and bishops. But of course, that doesn't happen these days, So I just go out there and I make it, and then I try and market it, and that's the hardest part of it, is to try and not that it's expensive. I mean, well, it is a fair bit of money, but it's not much money to some people. But I've just got to find that right person.
But, Geoff, that's an insane way to work. You know that, don't you? I mean, normally popes and kings and so on commission someone to build a wardrobe or to build a cabinet, but you decide just to build one of this quality, this regal quality, in basically under your house, and then hope someone will come along with an enormous cheque. I mean, this is not going to be a cheap piece of furniture, is it?
No, it's... But if I don't do that, I'll never do what I want to do. So I design and make what I want to do, and then I try and market it. Yeah. But I mean, this is at 1.4 million. That price is worked out off a job card, so all the price is all justified where all that money is in it. So it's not a figure just picked out of the air. It's actually worked out and calculated out of a job card. Yeah. And it isn't expensive,
Yeah, I mean, you say 1.4 million as though that's not that much, but it is a lot.
Well, it's a lot when you're trying to try and find that one person, I suppose. But I'd like to keep it here. I mean. But I mean, that's hard to damn well do. I mean, the Australiana cabinet toured Australia for 7 years, and I try to keep it here. And all the public support I had on it, to keep it here. Well, at the end of the day, someone just walked in from Belgium and seen it at an exhibition in Sydney, and of course it's in his private office in Antwerp now.
The great thing about this cabinet is that it's full of surprises. You open a door, and behind the door there is, there are rosellas there. On the inside of the door, and then if we look at this door here, there are plants and little wrens sticking their little beaks into Australian flowering gums.
Yeah, and all the bottle brush there, every hair on that bottle brush and the flowering gum is an individual piece of wood.
See, this is crazy. This is so beautiful. This is so... So we open this one, and there are a couple of parrots there, and we keep opening it. Now, no one does this kind of work without it coming out of somewhere fairly deep. I mean, you're a cheery, happy fellow, but I'm feeling for something deeper here. I mean, you're a man who's built a cabinet that's full of secrets and surprises. I feel as though you're saying something about yourself. Well,
the cabinet was named after my family. It was named after my mother and father and brother and my immediate family.
So it's called the Hannah Cabinet.
Yeah. I mean, my mother and father and brother, they're passed on now, but they were the most greatest things and the greatest foundation of my life, they were, Mm. And
your father was a timber getter?
Yeah, he was a sleeper cutter and a girder cutter. And Mum used to work on a dairy farm and in the bush, and her father had bullock teams. And, I mean, those girls used to work just as hard as what the men did, ploughing and bringing water up from the bloody creek on a slide and things like that. It was just all gut-busting work, And of course, once I was 17, I found out, I was looking through some papers one night, and I found out I was adopted. And I remember Mum saying, but you're happy, aren't you, love, And I said, yeah, of course I was happy. And I mean, I knew how damn upset she was when I found that paper, And I mean, I was upset too, but I mean, I got over it and I've dealt with it all right. But they were just the greatest things. And my little brother, he was born a Down syndrome little fella, you know, and of course he just idolised me, you know. So I'm glad I was glad I was out there for them to pick up, because without me, no one would have been able to look after them when they got in their years when they had strokes and all that. So I'm happy just how it's turned out.
So somehow all of that story, which is very complex, it's full of pain, it's full of happiness, it's full of unexpected discoveries and working out who it is you love, somehow you've linked that to making a beautiful cabinet. I know that in the 80s you won a Churchill Fellowship and you went to Europe, did you?
Yeah, went to London and Paris to study furniture, you know, in 1980. And, I mean, it was just amazing what I seen. Of course, I got on well with so many people, and the privileges I had on that Churchill Fellowship were beyond reproach. You know, like I'd go into the Louvre after hours, or when that one days were shut for the day, for instance, that room was shut. And I could actually open the furniture, and I could take the drawers out of Louis XV's desk of the coin cabinets, because I was allowed to, you know. And, you know, and of course those privileges, I mean, I wanted to see how it was constructed. You know, just take this out.
Yeah, okay, so we're now we've opened a tiny little door. We're now at a very small scale. If you can, this is a bit like Russian dolls, actually. You know, you start off with a big Russian doll, inside there's a smaller doll, inside there's a small doll. That's what this cabinet is like. You got big doors, and you open them, behind them there are smaller doors, and then you open that door, and there are even smaller doors, and then behind the doors there are tiny, tiny little drawers. Oh, my Lord. Okay, this is unbelievable. So we've pulled out a section of what looks like a tiny little drawer, but the whole unit projects out like a... what's it like?
Like a torpedo.
Well, like a little torpedo coming out at you, straight out of the cabinet. And down the side of this little torpedo, there are more drawers.
There's another little chest of drawers there, which is contained within itself. So that chest of drawers now will actually come out as well. Then there's another one hidden behind that, and I'll show you what's in the back of it.
I don't know what anyone's going to keep in this cabinet.
The real secret's for the buyer. I mean, that's the one with the 10 yellow sapphires, 2 red sapphires, 2 green peridots, and an oval amethyst inlaid around this final drawer in 22 karat gold, 24 karat gold they're inlaid in, that embellishes the final drawer. Then either side of that there's a bank of ebony drawers with lapis lazuli bottoms from Afghanistan, and rhodonite and ruby and zeolite, which is real ruby but not faceting grade.
Now, dear listener, I assure you this is not a hoax. We're not making this up. This is really here. Oh, my Lord. So we've now pulled out a section of the drawer, and behind it, hidden deep inside, is what looks like, well, a tiny piece of embroidery, that looks like. What is that?
It's a little piece of material out of Marie Antoinette's bedroom from Versailles.
Oh, go on. Go on. What, you nicked that while you were there on your scholarship, did you? Got out the penknife, got out your Stanley knife and said, I'll have a bit of that.
A gentleman would never reveal how I got that.
Look, it's been absolutely wonderful to come and visit you in your little underground area. I feel as though we're underground, we're just under the house, but it's like a magic cave down here where you work surrounded by timber and wonderful machinery. Thank you for showing us this lovely treasure that you keep here under this piece of black plastic under your house.
No, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for coming.
Geoff Hanna there showing us the Hanna cabinet, and it's worth $1.4 million. If you've got that amount lying around and you like an extremely ornate cabinet in your house, well, you know where to go.